Hey gang, thanks for joining me for another episode. Today I'll be discussing the 5 ways you can support your wife during pregnancy. So before we get started, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button along with that bell notification so you guys can get up-to-date information on first-time dad stuff, advice, what I'm going through, and maybe things you guys can, new information you guys can give to me or show me. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and let's get started, shall we? So the first, number one, this is my rule number one on how you can support your wife during pregnancy. First thing, agree with everything she says. Literally, everything. If you think you might have the urge to say maybe your own opinion, don't do it. I wouldn't. You might be right, but do you want to be right? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Do you want to be right? You don't. You don't. So go ahead, literally everything. Agree. Say, hey, that's great. I think you're right. Something like that. I don't know. Sometimes my wife I kind of get in that motion of like shaking my head. Yeah, I think it looks good. And then she's wondering if I'm really paying attention to her because she's used to my opinion all the time. So it's kind of it's a double-edged sword really, but it goes a lot better if you agree with them because they can't really get mad at you for anything. They want to maybe just because they don't think you're listening or just because you're agreeing with them just to agree with them. But so I don't know. Take it for what it's worth. Moving on. My second rule for supporting your wife during pregnancy. Foot massage or back massage. I found this works almost all the time. They will not typically decline a request to give them a foot massage and a back massage. I typically like to do this when down the road, maybe later that day, I want to play some video games or something, get some brownie points in. That way, when you say, hey babe, can I play some video games? She'll be like, you know what? You gave me that foot rub or back rub earlier. You go ahead. You go win that BR quads match with your buddies. I'm like, all right, I guess. If you insist, right? So, foot or back massage, any massage, whatever she likes. So, that's rule number 2. Moving on. Rule number 3. Do some house chores. Now I know this is hard for some of you guys who work maybe more than 40 hours a week or work at all, so I understand. But if you can just do dishes or sweep the house or do a load of laundry, really anything, dust, she does pick up on that. My wife tells me, hey, appreciate you guys, I don't even say anything to her, I don't even tell her I'm doing it. She just can notice. She's like, oh, the house looks clean, I got clean clothes. They're going to notice, So just do it. Don't say anything. Just do it. And again, this is just kind of goes, you're supporting her, yet you're supporting yourself because, you don't want to get in an argument, especially she got some hormones that are going a little crazy right now, more than usual. And it's just not worth it. It's not worth getting the stress, raising stress levels up on both you and your wife, especially during this time, because the baby, it can react to that, I think, probably. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I could imagine they probably do at some point during the pregnancy. So let's try to keep that stress level down, even keel, keep it low. So house chores is my third rule for supporting your wife during pregnancy. Fourth rule, do a date night. This could be as simple as dinner and a movie. You don't even need to go out, if you don't want to with COVID right now. I know it's hard. We're talking about actually going out for dinner and a movie here. Tenet just came out. I think it just did 53 million worldwide or something like that, which isn't like crazy amount pre-COVID, but for COVID, like post-COVID, they said like more than they would have ever thought. So people are getting back out there. I just noticed the CDC said they just came out with a figure this morning I read 94% of COVID deaths had underlying conditions. So I take that as pretty good news. I mean, we knew that underlying conditions you were more susceptible to, at least more like the more serious fatality or a serious case of it. But now, knowing that 94% of people who died actually had underlying conditions, I mean, that makes me breathe a little easier at night. Obviously, if you have an underlying condition, take care of yourself. But for those people like me, I'm not aware of anything that's underlying, so now I can sleep a little more at night and be a little more confident going out to a movie or going out for dinner. So just take that with a grain of salt for what it is. But yeah, and this could be anything. I mean, you could stay home and buy or rent a movie, Netflix and chill, order some takeout. Just, no phones. Me and my wife are really trying to put our phones down. Maybe like an hour in the first thing in the morning, trying not to look at our phones. Maybe an hour before we go to bed, not to try to look at our phones. We're both guilty. She likes the TikTok, and I'm on Twitter and whatever, Instagram, the gram, right? But anywho, let's get rolling. That's my number 4, my 4th rule to supporting your wife during pregnancy. And my last rule, number 5, is this is the hardest, listen to your wife. Now, this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, is listen. And I don't have great advice on how to do that. I try to stare at their mouths, but sometimes that's even hard to do, because then you just kind of get in a trance to where you see their mouth moving, but you're really not listening. So you really just got to get everything out of your brain and look at her, maybe eye contact, and just listen. I mean, don't even think about what you're going to say. And again, I'm not perfect at this, not even the least amount. But it does help if you do listen to your wife, especially when she's pregnant, because she'll appreciate that, and she won't yell at you, and especially yell at you for not listening, which is my biggest pet peeve, because I'm scatterbrained, whatever. But and if I got some better advice on how to listen, I will give it to you. But I do know that it can't help or cannot hurt to listen to your wife, especially while she's pregnant. So anyway, these are my 5 ways that I support my wife, or try to support my wife during pregnancy. We're still at the early phase here, I think 13 weeks. But for you guys out there, hope you guys can use this. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. It means a lot to me. Hope you guys are doing well. Please leave your feedback in the comments below. I read all of them, and it really helps me develop this channel and provide content that you guys are wanting. So also, I'll have a link below if you want to support the channel. You can go to my store and purchase merchandise, including these awesome baby onesies here for if you have a new addition, little baby girl or boy coming in the family. So as always, thanks again, and this is Glock Meat signing off.